Hi guys, it's Sherry. Welcome back. So today I have an amazing furniture makeover for you. I intentionally did not show you the after picture in the title slide because I wanted to make you have to wait until the very end. You are going to die. You are not going to believe the transformation on this cabinet. It is the best I've ever done. Hey, I wanted to let you guys know there were certain things that I had planned on talking about in this video that I just didn't have time for. I didn't want the video to be super long. And one of those things was the process that I go through when I am styling a cabinet or bookshelves. And so if that is something that you're interested in, would you please let me know in the comments, and I promise that I will make a video about that in the future. Okay. Well, let's get started on this incredible transformation. This was my china cabinet. It was packed to the brim with blue and white chinoiserie. I was either going to have to get rid of some of my dishes or I was going to have to get something bigger. I decided on something bigger. So I started pinning pictures of cabinets that I liked on Pinterest, but they were all out of my budget. And so I began wondering if I could find a piece of furniture that I could make over to look like one of these expensive cabinets. A few weeks ago, I saw this big green monster at the Habitat for Humanity Restore. Even though the color and style were very outdated, it was a solid piece, and I thought that it could be the cabinet that I was looking for. I was able to talk them down a little bit and purchase this for $400. To start the transformation, I removed the large wood knobs from the lower cabinets. Then I removed all of the shelves and the shelf supports. I also needed to remove some metal brackets from the middle cabinets. Because the hardware is covered in green paint, I throw it in an old crock pot filled with water and a couple squirts of Dawn dish soap. In a couple hours, without any scrubbing at all, your hardware will come out perfectly clean. I removed the backing of the middle TV cabinet because I was going to be replacing this with a piece of paneling to match the other two cabinets. My biggest challenge was removing the heavy upper shelf that had once housed a very large VCR. I removed every screw that I could see, but I eventually resorted to pounding it out with a big mallet. A mallet is a good friend to have. I knew the exact shade of blue I wanted these cabinets to be. I took my inspiration photos with me to Menards, and I selected a Premium Plus Dutch Boy paint in Prussian blue. Before painting, I cleaned the cabinets really well with an all-purpose cleaner and then with Crud Cutter Gloss Off. Before rolling on the paint, I like to use some tape to remove any loose lint that might later get stuck in the paint. Any kind of roller would work, but I like to use a rather small, low nap roller to reduce the amount of splattering, especially when painting indoors. You can see here how I've propped the cabinet up on scraps of wood. This allows me to paint along the bottom edge of the furniture without getting paint on the floor. To avoid using painter's tape, I use a large artist brush in any place where I need to be especially neat. And if I do mess up, I just clean it up right away with a wet cloth. Much faster and less time-consuming than taping everything off. When painting cabinet doors, I always paint the back side first. I use a brush to get into any grooves and then go over the entire surface with my roller. When the back side is done, I flip it over, holding on to the edges, and then carefully balance it on 4 painter's pyramids. If you don't own the paint pyramids, Solo cups or soda cans make good substitutes. I apply light pressure with my left hand to the center of the door to keep it from wobbling off the pyramids, while I paint the edges and the rest of the top of the door. While I wait for the first coat of paint to dry, I keep my paint from drying out by wrapping the pan, the brush, and the roller in plastic wrap until I'm ready to paint the second coat. I measured the piece of backing that I had removed from the TV cabinet. I took those measurements to my local Lowe's and had a piece of paneling cut to size. They do this for free. I attached the paneling using my staple gun. After painting the exterior of the cabinets in 2 coats of Dutch Boy's Prussian blue, I painted the interior of the cabinets and the shelves in Dutch Boy's Ultra White. I painted the shelves in the same manner as I had painted the doors. I gave them 2 coats of the white paint, allowing them to dry between coats while balancing on the painter pyramids. There were a couple of spots where the stain was showing through the first coat of white paint. To resolve this problem, I used Ben Shellac primer in the red can. Once dry, these spots disappeared with the second coat of white paint. To create shelf supports in the TV cabinet, I used some scraps of wood from the VCR shelf. I cut them to size. I measured to figure out exactly where I wanted my shelves to be, and then I attached the supports using liquid nails. I took another leftover piece of wood and measured it to the width of the TV cabinet. I used this to determine whether or not my shelf supports were level with one another on either side before I permanently attached them with screws. Because the screws were black, I touched them up with white paint to make them less noticeable. I purchased 2 pieces of 1-inch thick pine wood to create the shelves for the TV cabinet. Since the piece of scrap wood was already the exact length that I needed, I used it to mark, measure, and cut my shelves to the exact right size. Since the pine shelves were going to need 3 coats of paint for full coverage, I was running low on my white paint. To resolve the problem, I mixed some old acrylic enamel white paint that I had with the newer Dutch Boy to make it go farther.
Well, I wondered how long it would be before I showed up in my pajamas and no makeup in my videos, because when I get up in the morning, one of the first things that I want to do is to check on the project that I was working on the day before, and I inevitably see something that I want to do. And so, yeah, one video you got with me completely dressed throughout. So enjoy that first one if you haven't seen it. So the thing that I want to do Since these shelves are not adjustable,
of this shelf,
I am going to run a bead of caulk along the edges, just to give it
under
really
here
professional
too,
clean.
while I'm
With
at
caulk,
it.
you don't
Even
see
though
the crack
really can't see
in
that.
between
No, I would not
the
do that
shelf
on these
and
shelves
the
because
wall
I
of the
may
cabinet at
sometime
all.
in
You
the
just
future
see a
decide that
really
I want to adjust them,
clean,
and if you put the caulk
professional
down,
finish.
Well, they're going to be stuck in place, and to move them,
I was really pleased that the middle cabinet had a built-in outlet where I could plug in these two cute little lamps.
So I thought that I was all done and ready to start loading up these cabinets. But then I realized I really did not like the jumbled mess of cords that these lamps created. So I came up with an idea. Do you remember this board? Attach it like so with a couple of...
Now I have a little channel
Hold it in
where I can
place.
hide all of the cords, but it's only held in place with a couple screws. So if I change my mind and I want to remove it, it would be really easy to take it out.
So I painted it.
Finally, I am done. I can put all of the shelves back in and I can start decorating. My absolute favorite part. Okay, how did I do? Here's the before. Big green dated entertainment center. After, blue and white, elegant china hutch. Here's the breakdown of my expenses. I paid $400 for the cabinet and then $89 altogether for all of the supplies that I needed. Here again is the inspiration cabinet from Ballard Design that cost almost $5,000. My cabinet, on the other hand, came in at just 1/10 of that price.
Thanks for watching. It means so much to me. As of right now, I have 33 subscribers, which blows my mind. I have so many ideas for future videos. Right now, I'm working on another thrift flip where I take items that I've purchased at Goodwill and I upcycle them to sell in my home decor space. I'm also going to be taking the hutch portion of an old china cabinet and turning that into an enclosed bookcase.